And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to All Sports Western New York. It's your old buddy Bob Kaczynski here for our Year in Review special program of All Sports Western New York. And tonight we're going to look back at some of the fun segments that we did over the last year. You know, this was the year the show went from being called Sports Wrap-Up to All Sports Western New York, tying into the website of the same name. And I think we've got some fun segments tonight that you're going to enjoy. Now, a reminder, next week, All Sports Western New York will be on Monday night at 7:30. We're switching places with the Fred Jackson Show. The Fred Jackson Show will be live Tuesday night at 7:30. All Sports next week will be Monday night at 7:30. And, you know, last night we did the Fred Jackson Show, and, of course, the Bills had a news conference at Monday afternoon at 4 in the afternoon to talk about the season ending, the disappointing loss to the Patriots, you know, how they ended up at 6-10. And Russ Brandon talked about the fact that they may have the same record as last year, but he thinks the organization is definitely headed in the right direction.
We've made a significant step under Coach Marone. The leadership that he's brought to this organization, the level of accountability, and where we're trying to reach, we are disappointed to be sitting here 6-10. I mean, there's no question about it. But certainly feel that, as I mentioned, that we are on the path to success under his leadership, under the personnel changes that Doug Whaley made, some of the personnel that was brought in not only through the draft, but acquisitions like Jerry Hughes, Ty Powell, Stephon Charles, Dan Carpenter, you know, a lot of players that contributed this year, and obviously the draft class was excellent.
Now, last night on the Fred Jackson Show, I talked to Fred about the fact that Marcell Dareus was benched for the first half against the Patriots because he was late yet again for a team meeting. And I talked to Fred, what's expected of the players as professionals?
I mean, you have to be, we talk about it all the time, being accountable, you know, and if you're not at meetings on time, you know, there's certain things that have to be, you know, set, and, you know, that was one of them. You know, he had been late to a couple of meetings, you know, and Coach had warned him, you know, fined him. You know, of course he got fined for it, and, you know, when you're late as many times as he was, you know, Coach felt like he had to make, you know, not make an example of him, but, you know, let him know that it's serious. You know, if we can't count on him to be at meetings, you know, we can't count on him to be at the game either.
And last night on the Fred Jackson Show, his special guest was Bill's former quarterback, Hall of Famer, Jim Kelly, who you're going to see later on in this show. But I asked Jim about the progress and his opinion of the rookie season of quarterback E.J. Manuel.
With EJ, I like what I see. There are times where I kind of wondered, is he still at Florida State? But there are times where I see flashes of greatness. But I think with a whole year, I think that's what everybody, including myself, was hoping that EJ would play a full year and get that experience under his belt, and he didn't get that. And so I think there's a lot of question marks still out there. But I love his leadership. I've heard him talk to players before. I heard him when he gets around you guys, the way he handles himself. I like everything about him, but he just needs that experience on the field.
And just a great show last night. A reminder again, the Fred Jackson Show next week, the final show of the season, Tuesday night, 7:30, the normal time for All Sports Western New York. When we come back, we're going to take a look at some very fun features and stories that took place over the past year. We'll be back, Bald for Bucks, right after this. ACC basketball coming to WBBZ-TV this weekend, January 4th. It'll be a doubleheader. First, Pitt at NC State, and then at the conclusion of that game, it'll be Miami at Syracuse right here on WBBZ-TV. One of the fun features we had this past year on All Sports Western New York, Lou Billatier Jr., one of the owners of Chef's Restaurant, very successful Italian restaurant in Buffalo, New York. He does so many things in the community, as does some of the great restaurateurs in the area. And Louis decided to raise some money from Roswell. He decided to grow his hair, have Rob Ray shave it. Let's take a look. We're here at Chef's, and here's the man of the hour, Louis Billatier Jr., who's going to have his head shaved by Rob Ray. And I mean, I'd question your mental state of mind, but I know this is all for a great cause.
That's the only reason I'm doing this, because it's a great cause, because razor with sharp instruments very much scares me.
Now, where did the idea come from?
You know, it came from a friend of mine, actually did it last year. And I've had so many friends in the last year come down with cancer, have to go through chemo. And, you know, and just to show solidarity, I felt it was important to do this.
Now, how much money have you raised?
I don't know yet. Last I heard was over 7,000, so it's going pretty good, and we've getting a pretty good turnout here tonight. So I'm hoping to get near 10,000 by the time we're done.
And not only is the money going to a good cause, but your hair is going to a good cause.
It is. It's going to Locks of Love, and they make wigs for chemo patients. So it's kind of a dual-purpose thing. So it works out well.
Now, we were talking beforehand because I'm trying to figure out, you're seeing him now with not just hair on his head, but this is the longest I've ever seen your hair.
It's definitely the longest I've ever had my hair. I'm a short hair guy, so.
And the look you're going for afterwards?
I'm thinking Uncle Fester from the Addams Family.
We figured Uncle Fester or maybe Curly from the Three Stooges. But how long do you think it'll take for it to all grow back in?
My hair grows pretty quick, so I'm thinking about 5 months. 5 or 6 months, it should be more than back to this.
Okay. And you trust Rob?
No, not at all.
Is there a nurse on duty?
Funny you should say that. We do have an EMT here just in case.
Okay. The next you'll be talking to this man, he will not have these locks on top of his head. Let's see now Rob Ray in action.
Well, when you get a haircut, you better go back home.
Why is he asking what ending?
Okay, here we go. I hope you washed it. How's everybody's spaghetti, all right?
Well, Butte, Montana, just passing through. One thing I just had to do. Had to get a haircut, and I was worried for my hair. I had a feeling of impending doom. The minute I stepped into that room, laid my eyes upon that barber chair. Oh yeah. My hair dries now.
It's like Benjamin Franklin.
Hair in your ears at the same time.
Barber chair was Peterbilt.
How much for the Audi bar?
Barber walked in, he is 7 feet tall.
All right, Lou, you really do look good. I didn't know what the look would be, but that's not a bad look.
You're being very polite,
No,
Bob.
when you look in a mirror, I think you'd be pleasantly surprised.
Well, see, I haven't looked in the mirror yet, so I don't have a clue what's up there or what's not up there.
Now, I'm not saying I'd make Rob my regular barber, but you don't look bad.
I'll tell you, if he had hands like that when he played, he would have had 20 goals a season, easy.
Instead of 20 for his career.
Exactly.
Now, since we talked last, which was to our viewers just a minute ago, you've raised over $10,000. I think we raised another $1,000 just with the live auctions here.
Yeah, I'm very pleased. You know, we came in a little low from what I set for a goal, and with the people that showed up tonight and the donations, we were well over $10,000. So it goes right to Roswell for research.
And the hair that's right now lying on the floor, your golden locks, those will make a wig for somebody.
They will. Yes, they're going to collect them and go to Locks for Love and make a wig for some chemo patient, hopefully.
So somebody watching at home right now who said, gee, I didn't know about that, but I would have loved to have donated. How can they still contribute?
They can go to baldforbucks.org and click on my picture. There's pictures there, and click on my picture, and you can donate right online if you want, or stop down at the restaurant and make a check out to Roswell Park, and we'll get it over to Roswell for them.
Will this be a yearly event?
I'm not sure yet. It's still a little early. I have to look in the mirror first.
Would have been nicer if it was last March when it was 80 out instead of this March.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about going home tonight. It's a little chilly out.
Well, congratulations. A great cause and great job.
Thank you, Bob. Thanks for everything, all the support.
You know, Rob, I got to say, you really did a very good job.
Well, I got sweet hands. It was just something that I was never allowed to show my hands in the proper way when I had a chance to play.
To quote Louis, he said if your hands were that soft when you played, you'd have 20 goals a season.
I might have had 20 goals, but I might have been out of work too, because if they weren't hard as they were, then might not have lasted as long. So yeah, but yeah, it was cool. It was a neat thing to do.
Now, I know you've got a long history with the Billetier family, and the Sabres do in general with chefs. You guys are always in here. But how did you get picked by Louis to be the one to shave his head?
Well, you know what, Lou is so supportive of our alumni. He's there every time we need something, every time we have an event. You know, Lou's one of the first guys to say, hey, I'm in, what do you need, what do you got to do? And you know, he called me, he just asked, he said, would you be interested in doing it, helping out? And, you know, I didn't even hesitate. I'm like, absolutely, I'd love to do it, just to come down and give you a hand and to help raise some money and for a good cause. And, you know, somebody like, Lou, if there's a lot of those kind of guys in town, but, they really step up and make a huge difference in a lot of these organizations. And, when they need a little help, you got to be there to help them.
So where will your hair cutting prowess take you next?
I think this will probably be the end, unless I can go home and convince my wife, maybe show her a few pictures saying that maybe I can get a hold of my son or my dog this summer sitting out on the back porch. But probably right now, I'll just take my chair and go home and just sit in my chair along the way and just enjoy it.
Maybe retire undefeated.
Yeah, there you go. You know, two happy customers, no tips, but happy customers it seems like, and I'll just walk away.
And that was just a great night, a great cause. And how fitting that we would go from the owner of Chefs to the owner of DePaulo's restaurant. Dennis DePaulo and the DePaulo golf outing. It's every June. Money raised for the DePaulo Scholarship Fund. It's a great cause. Always some top celebrities and some real characters. Let's take a look. Dennis, how many years now does this make this tournament?
This is 34 years now we've been together in the running. My father started us back in the late 70s there, and we've been running every time, all the way through. Some great memories. Carmen Basilio, right to Destroyer, and great cause. We've raised a lot of money for the Western New York community, but the Destroyer's been with us every single one of them.
It's been great. I played here with many sports celebrities, many of the sports announcers like yourself, and with Ilio to start out with, and Dennis and his son now are doing great, but Michael also. And I talked to Barbara this morning, and it was pouring rain in Akron. I says, "Are you going to play?" And she said, "Yeah, it's okay here."
Yeah, somebody's smiling down on us right now.
Well, we hope the Italian gods stay with us throughout the rain here. So the homemade wine is on the way, Bob, and you'll have a cart full.
Yeah. How much money's been raised over the years out here, Dennis? You remember?
Well, with People Inc. alone, we've raised over $100,000 just for People Incorporated, which is Al Boswell, the Buffalo Home, and it's a great organization. It really helps the disadvantaged of our community, and needless to say, through the scholarship fund that we've done such a great job with through the years, our committee has done a wonderful job awarding scholarships to the tremendous leaders of tomorrow.
Hey, Dick, are you a better golfer or wrestler?
I am a much, much better wrestler.
I'd say that for Dennis, too.
Pretty close, compa.
Okay, now we have a couple Buffalo Bill greats, Booker Edgerson, Eddie Rakowski. Eddie's eating some of the pulled pork, getting ready to put some muscle on before he hit those long drives, right, Ed?
Absolutely, yeah, that's what you have to do.
Yeah, I was checking out. I didn't see any guamki or anything of Polish, but
no kielbasa either.
No,
you know,
no.
Hey,
We'll have to go pick some up.
We're all Italian today.
That's right. Booker, how many of these outings have you had a chance to play with the DePaulo family?
I think this is about the 10th year that I've officially counting. About the 10th year, and it's always been gratifying to you know, because I knew Elio myself personally, and then with Dennis, we just had a great time, and plus I'm on a couple boards with Dennis, so there's also a connection there. Yeah. Yes.
And this is like one big family every year when you come out here.
Absolutely. You know, when we first came to Buffalo, the first place you come after you're a rookie or during your rookie year is Ilio DePaulo's, and you become part of the DePaulo family. And it really is. It is all about family, and Dennis is taking over now, and we have a lot of fun, but remember Ilio deeply in our heart. He'll be missed.
I'm asking this question, better football player or golfer?
Who?
You.
Oh, thank God I don't have to play golf for a living. I'd be in the poorhouse.
Booker?
Oh, I'm definitely a better football player than a golfer, you know. But I'd just like to say is that, you know, with this tournament that Dennis does is that, you know, it's money goes to the scholarship fund and everything. And there's so many young athletes and scholar athletes in the area that benefit from this whole program. So I encourage any and everybody, if they afford to come out here, come on out here and be a participant.
Ladies and gentlemen, the famous Paul McGuire. Oh,
excuse me.
About 3 seconds. Aren't you? Didn't you used to be Eddie Rakowski? Oh, you're Jack Kemp now?
Yeah.
Oh, you used to be Jack Kemp, and now you're Eddie Rakowski.
That's the most contact you've had in a long time.
Oh boy, I tell you, even at home. No, everything's good. How you doing?
Good, buddy. Now, how many years have you been out here?
Oh boy. You know, I met him when we first came here in '64, and he was a friend of the Buffalo Bills and everybody in town in this area from that time on. And as long as they've had it, we've been here. And if you look around, it really is kind of weird because all the guys that I play ball with still live here, are all here. None of those guys ever forgot Ilio DePaulo. I mean, how the hell can you? And his son Dennis has done such a wonderful job. But this guy was so good to the Buffalo Bills and the players. You just can't imagine.
And I remember some classic after tournament dinners, you and Carmen Basilio, and it was like being in Vegas.
Yeah, you know, it's really funny when you do something like that at Ilio DePaula's restaurant, or like here. I took 3 days. I took another, an update class on Italian. Now, I'm doing all right with my hands. My hands are doing real good. It's the verbiage and things. I'm just not getting it all yet. But I know some of the swear words.
See, you have to be like Dennis. You just speak English, but with an Italian accent. He thinks that'll get him past in Italy.
I know. Do you know he's done his father so long and all of these guys so many times that's actually the way he talks now. He actually thinks he's an immigrant.
Yeah. He was born in Lackawanna.
I know, but you would never know it. I mean, you just every time someone, like pull him over the cops, and then they want to know where his passport is.
Paul McGuire, never a man short on words. Hey, when we come back, we're going to hear from Jim Kelly in his battle over cancer right after this. Don't forget the Bucky and Sully Show every Monday and Fridays live at 7 o'clock. There's going to be a time change coming up in a couple weeks, but we'll keep you informed on that. Coming up next, this past year, Jim Kelly was diagnosed with cancer right in the mouth area. He had a successful surgery. We had a chance to talk to him a few weeks after and talk about his victory over that dreaded disease.
I'm hanging in there. I'm doing a lot better than I was, that's for sure. It's just a long process, and as you well know, you know me well enough to know that I'm not a very patient person. So, of course, after all the surgeries and things that went on, I want this to be done with. I want to move on. I want to be pain-free. But they told me it's going to take a little bit longer, so I just have to be patient and do what the doctors tell me, and just pray that all the cancer is gone, that it won't come back.
I had the pleasure of hearing you speak at a commencement ceremony to college graduates, and you basically did a talk about how being a star NFL quarterback isn't necessarily all it's cracked up to be, that everybody has trials and tribulations. You've had more than your share since your playing days have been over.
Yeah, you got that right. Probably, I don't want to go on my whole list because we don't have enough time on the show, but within the last 2 years, back surgery, double hernia surgery, neck surgery, 2 jaw surgeries before they even found out that I had cancer. So I've been through the ringer, but I just hope this is the last of the surgeries, because I want to do something with my kids and be able to be pain-free, and I haven't been able to be that way in a long time. But I'm not here to complain. There's so many other people out there that have a lot worse issues than me, but to be honest with you, and I first of all, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank all the listeners out there and the viewership that has seen me and heard me talk about what's going on, and really have sent their prayers my way, the emails, the letters. There's no way I could thank everybody personally for that, but it's good that you allow me to come on your show so I can say thank you, thank you, thank you, because it does make you feel good when you know people out there do care, and I'm very into my faith, so I know that prayers do work.
And I got to say, Jim looked terrific last night on the Fred Jackson Show, and doing well, and still praying for him. Hey, our last feature tonight in September, it was BuzzCon. It was a combination of sports memorabilia, sports figures, comic books, a great time. I had a chance to talk to some of the sports heroes who were there with us that weekend.
It's very ironic that we can just see each other and boom, we can, just like you said, pick up where we left off. A lot of guys are doing different things, but we kind of try to stay together as much as we can. When I come up here, I see Jim and Thurman a lot, and Bruce is in Virginia, Daryl's here, there, everybody, but it's that camaraderie will always be there. I mean, we were like family, and we like to know what each other's doing, our families, how our families are doing, so it's fun to know how we're doing as normal people now.
This has always been a big weekend for the Bills alumni.
It's even better because this year I'm finally excited about the team. I think they've really made some good moves. The GM knows what he's doing. The head coach is a no-nonsense guy, and not that the other guys were. He actually played the game, and I love the quarterback.
The fact that the coach is an ex-offensive lineman, does that have anything to do with that?
He's one of the most intelligent men in the world. But he's a good coach, and you're going to see.
You look terrific. I know you had a serious health scare. How you doing?
Doing outstanding. Trying to eat better and get a little exercise and do things I'm supposed to do healthy-wise. So we're feeling good. Can't complain.
And your partner over here, Joe DeLamalure, he's all about being healthy.
Joe D looks like he could play today. To me, he stays healthy, and he's a great guy.
Keeping track of the current Bills team?
To somewhat in the South, where I live in Arkansas, we don't get a lot of updates on the Bills, but I watched them through the draft, and looks like they made a good pick as a quarterback and just a good young football team. They're going to get better every week.
Tell you, a couple of the zombies out there still give me nightmares. We're going to be back to wrap up our New Year's edition of All Sports Western New York right after this.
Guests of All Sports Western New York receive a gift certificate from DiPaolo's Restaurant and Ringside Lounge, South Park Avenue in Blaisdell.
Well, that's going to take care of our show. Don't forget, next week on January 6th will be All Sports Western New York. That's Monday night. We're flip-flopping with the Fred Jackson Show. So it's All Sports Western New York Monday night at 7:30. And then the Fred Jackson Show will be Tuesday night, 7:30 live right here in our WBBZ studios. Hey, it's been a great year. We're looking forward to a big 2014. It's time to celebrate the new year, so let's hear the noisemakers. Happy New Year, everybody. A very happy 2014. Have yourselves a great night and a much better tomorrow.